All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, always got to shout out the sponsors from the top. Sovereign Extracts, you can check them out for some great CBD oils, as well as a variety of cartridges, THC, CBD, as well as hybrid options. Also, big shout out to USG Canada, putting out great apparel for boxers, MMA fighters, and for fans alike. And we've got a big card going at Titan FC 66, and it's happening on December the 17th, and a flyweight bout that many people have their eyes on. We've got Gustavo Villamil taking on Keaneo Moyer, and I've got Keanu on the show again. How's your day going so far there, Keanu?
It's going good. It's my day off of work, but it's not a day off of work because I'm still putting in all this work in the gym and getting all my medical stuff done and getting everything done. So I'm excited. I'm ready.
You still hitting the 3 or 4 mile daily runs? Like, did you get in one of those today, or?
Actually, we changed it up a little bit. To help me lose the weight properly and get off the weight like I want to, so I don't have to cut a whole bunch of weight when I get to Miami. We're running 4 to 5 miles every single day until the last 2 days before weigh-ins, so I can make sure to get the weight off properly.
No, it's a great idea, man, and just makes a ton of sense. I wanted to touch on the MMA pro debut there briefly, though. You had that unanimous decision over Jacob Romero and everything like that. What was it like getting out there and just getting the pro victory? Because like we had the past interviews and stuff like that, just a multitude of fight cancellations through your amateur run, similar situation with a prior mapped out professional debut. What was it like to finally get out there and just also get that quality of performance? I imagine it was very exciting, but also maybe a modicum of relief as well.
Yeah, that was just like this fight camp. I feel like I've been in a year and a half long fight camp right now since my pro debut. I've just been getting ready, but for my pro debut, that was a long fight camp as well because I had got suspended as an amateur for 4 months, then decided to go pro. When I decided to go pro, I had a fight cancellation, and then I was finally able to fight in May against Jacob. And it was, like you said, it was a huge relief, huge weight off my shoulders. I put in more. I put in a lot of work for that camp, and felt like that was the best shape that I could be in for that fight possible. And I did great. I put on a dominant performance all 3 rounds. I've never, ever since my amateur debut, I haven't been to decision. So I wanted to prove to myself once again, that I have the cardio to go 3 rounds, that I could stay in there and put on a good performance all 3 rounds, keep the same pace, and that's exactly what I did. I wanted to make sure that I got the ring experience that I didn't get when I was amateur, because when I was amateur, I just came in and finished my fights quickly, so I didn't have that much in-ring experience, so I wanted to make sure that I got that out the way in my pro debut. And it felt like my second home, seriously, and when I step foot in that cage, I don't feel more comfortable anywhere else in the whole entire world.
Yeah, the comfortability and fluidity is very indicative when you're out there doing your thing. But I'd also noticed a little while ago, like a few months at this point, you had a bit of a brief layoff due to an injury. And just listening to some prior conversations we had, you were talking about, oh, yeah, it's crazy how I haven't gotten an injury as of yet. Like, what was it like just, I guess, rehabbing and just going through the processes of what seems to be your first major, like, MMA related injury, just in the sense that you were injured at all?
Yeah, honestly, that was my first time breaking a bone or getting injured ever in my whole entire life, and I've been training since I was like 14 years old. I trained really smart. I learned from a lot of the fighters that you can't overtrain. If your body's telling you that you need to rest, you got to make sure that you rest. You can't overpush yourself. And I've always been the one to abide by that. But I was getting ready for a team alpha male guy and a big taller guy, and one of my my training partners was bigger and taller, and I just threw the incorrect punch. Punch one time, and that's what happens. It just, those things happen in training. You never expect them to happen, but it happened. And then right when it happened, I knew I have dislocated my toe before, but I haven't broken any bones. But I knew right away that my hand was broken, just the way that it felt. And the rehab was crazy because I had to wear a cast, but it was a removable cast, so I could take it off to shower and everything. But but my physical therapist told me not to take it off, to shower for the first 3 weeks, because if I fell in the shower or anything, or if I try to catch myself, I'll always go towards my right hand. So she just made me not take it off. So I had a removable cast, but wasn't able to remove it for the first 4 weeks. Then after the first 4 weeks, I had to do physical therapy after that for 2 to 3 months. Then after that, right after that was about 4 months of recovery, and my hand was finally healed. And then right after that, I was getting ready for a fight in May of this year, and then the pandemic happened.
Yeah, and I'm kind of wondering, like, if the pandemic impeded much of your training early on, or just at any point in the timeline, or if you just, I guess, found a way to adapt.
Honestly, I think the pandemic, in the state that I'm living in, it's affected my training to a certain like a certain point. Like I can't spar as much as I used to. I can't grapple, like live round grappling. Like, of course I'm still able to grapple and everything, but we're not able to do live rounds like we were able to. At least for the first part of the pandemic, we weren't. So it did affect my training. I can't lie, it did affect my training for sure the first part of the pandemic. But as the time has gone on, I've learned how to adjust and learn how to adapt to the training that I have available to me right now. And I made sure that for this fight, even though it's only on 12 days notice, for the last month or so, I've had multiple fight offers. So I've made sure that I'm staying fight ready just in case this happens. And then it did happen, so I made sure this whole entire time, at least for the last 2 months. I can't say for the beginning of the pandemic that I was completely fight ready, but for the last 2 months, I've stayed completely fight ready just in case this happens, and then it ended up happening.
Yeah, and earlier on you mentioned like about the dynamic in your state and certain things like that. And to that point, I'm kind of wondering what your training dynamic is ahead of this one, because at one point when we had talked previously, you were splitting time between Team Quest and just working with Dwayne Ludwig and stuff like that. I imagine the cross training not as much of a thing now. So like, what's the core base for this fight camp here?
The core base is I have my main striking, or I have my main MMA coach, Ishmael White. I remember the last time we did an interview, I believe he was just starting to try to open up his own gym.
Yeah.
And then he just now got his gym opened up at the beginning of this year. And I've been working with him every single day. And I also work with my boxing coach, George. And then I have a good friend of mine that's a purple belt under Pedro Sauer, and his name's Fabian Raymore. And I do as many grappling rounds as I can with him whenever I can, and he just helps me out as much as he can on my grappling knowledge.
That's awesome, man. Some great minds and stuff like that, and some guys you've been working with for the last little while now, for sure. You definitely were mentioning some of those names the last time we talked, but I kind of wanted to touch on your opponent in this fight here, Gustavo Villamil. I mean, 2-0, both wins, both via rear naked choke and under the Titan FC banner there. Like, you strike me as a guy that pretty avidly watches tape on certain fighters. Like, you seem to have a level of familiarity with a lot of your compatriots in your weight class or close to it. So to that point, like, what's your read on Gustavo Villamil's skill set? Or due to the short notice nature of the fight, have you not gotten to do as much tape study as you'd ordinarily do?
Honestly, whenever I get an opponent, it doesn't matter. It could literally be on 1 day's notice. I will study that opponent for the next 24 hours straight, and all I need to do is see them fight at least 5 to 10 times, and I get everything that I need out of that video. I've ever since I got the fight, I watched him fight every single day now, and every single day I get more and more confident, because I've fought a lot of people exactly like Gustavo in my amateur career. And that, I feel like that's where that's what will help me win this fight, is because he lacks experience. He's only 3-2 as amateur. Maybe he has more fights that I can't find, but from what I found, he's 3-2 as amateur and 2-0 as a pro. And all of those fights as amateur were in shin guards and 6-ounce gloves. So his last his pro fights are, to me, basically amateur fights, because everything that he's done in his pro debut, I got to do as an amateur at FCFF, at the Full Contact Fighting Federation. The only different rules is I'm not allowed to throw elbows and I'm not allowed to heel hook. But other than that, I've basically been fighting as a pro since I was 18. I just haven't been getting paid for it. And that's where I feel like I'll win this fight. He's really tough. He's a really good grappler. But I'm a complete mixed martial artist. No matter where the fight goes, I'm going to win. No matter if it's standing, no matter if he tries to take me down, no matter if it goes to the ground, I have him beat no matter where the fight goes. And what's awesome is that I'm really glad that there's social media and that there is the availability to watch fights, because when I first started, when my coaches were getting ready for fights, they weren't able to study their opponents. They just had to go out there and fight. But now I get to really sit down and watch my opponents and pick up on cues that they have and pick up on bad habits they have, and make sure that when the fight comes, that I'm able to capitalize on that. And I've been able to do that every single day. Like I said before, as every single day goes by, I get more and more confident, because I watched this dude and I know that I've beat many people like him before. He will be no different.
I think you made great points there, just in the sense of, like, if people are just like isolating their focus on your pro record, I think it really belies the experience that you have overall. Because, like, during your amateur run, I mean, you were a champion and you were in some high profile spots, and I imagine you had got to learn a meaningful series of lessons prior to even making that pro debut there.
Exactly. That's why I'm really glad that I took the losses that I did as an amateur, because now I know what it feels like to lose, and I know what it feels like, what to do to make sure that you never lose again. I know what to do to make sure that I never lose again. And honestly, I do see myself retiring undefeated, kind of like Khabib, man. I do not, in my weight class, I don't see anybody at 125 pounds in the whole entire world that has the finishing capabilities that I have, or is I'm not being cocky or overconfident or anything, but I don't see anybody that's as big as a draw as me or as a star as me, because the way that I'll be finishing my opponents. And I can't wait to prove that next Thursday, because it's been a long time. I just wanted to make sure in my pro debut that I got the octagon experience, but now all my fights from here on, I'm coming to finish these people.
Yeah, absolutely. And is there like an increased level of excitability just with this being on UFC Fight Pass, or even under the Titan FC moniker there, or does the banner kind of not matter as much? It's sort of inconsequential, and it's just the competitive framework of getting out there and fighting that kind of matters more than anything.
Don't get me wrong, I'd be lying if I said fighting on UFC Fight Pass isn't a big deal to me. But I can't say I've been on UFC Fight Pass before, but I fought for King of the Cage in my pro debut, which they're not that big as a promotion anymore, but they're one of the oldest organizations out. Totally. And my fight was televised on TV. I basically did everything that I'm doing now for Titan FC. I did it for my pro debut, so I feel really confident. I feel ready. And to me, it's just another day, another fight. Except just this time, I'm traveling across the world to beat this guy up.
Yeah, and to that point, what are some of the travel dynamics like, and just, I guess, some of the regulatory aspects for this fight week? Because I imagine it's going to be a great deal different than how it was for your pro debut there.
Yeah, it's completely different. I weigh in the morning on Wednesdays, and I always weigh in on Fridays in the evenings, and I'm fighting on Thursday evening, but I always fight on Saturday evening. So those are completely big changes to me. And then I'm flying out to Miami on Monday. That's a big change to me, because I've never flown to the East Coast before. I've only flown, the farthest that I've flown is South Dakota. And yeah, that's Midwest. So this is going to be a complete change for me. But to me, I feel like a chameleon. You got to make sure that no matter what, you got to adapt and adjust. And I'm really good at that. I feel really confident in my skills, and making sure that once I get there, I'll be level-headed, and I'll make sure that everything is on point for me to fight. I can't say exactly how it's gonna go, because like I said, I haven't traveled before to fight, but I'm completely confident in everything that I'm doing right now to make sure that once I get there, there's no troubles or anything. That once I get to Miami, I'm just able to relax and focus on the fight.
Yeah, good to be measured and thorough about that. And everything. And I thought it was cool because I was actually listening to our initial interview that we did prior to talking now, and you'd said since you were a little kid, it was your dream to become a pro fighter. Has there been any kind of moment where you can kind of, I guess, step outside like the day to day grind, like whereby you're so committed to what you're doing? Like, is there a moment where you can step outside of that briefly and kind of be like, hey, I'm living my dream?
Yeah, well, honestly, during the pandemic, I've had to pick up a job. I've had to start working and start because I had when I had just went pro, I had a lot of sponsorships sponsoring me and helping me get ready. So I really didn't have to work at all. I was able to focus on my career full time, and I was gonna start going back to school, but the way that everything has happened, it's just been like one roadblock after the other. But with the pandemic happening, I didn't have any source of income, so I had to get a job. And once getting a job really made me realize, I have a job, but I have a career though. So I'm working right now as an associate, sales associate at a convenience store right around the corner from my house. But I know every single day that I go to work, it's awesome because at the end of the day, I'm doing a job, but I know that I have a career. So every single day that I was going to work, every day that I've been going to work, I still do all my workouts. I still hit the gym, and I still make sure that I remind myself that, at the end of the day, I could get a call at any time to fight, and I'll be doing something that I love. And I just needed to keep on reminding myself that every single day that the time will come, and I need to stay patient and just stay ready. And I'll be able to make my dreams into a reality. That's the thing, is that when you're at work, you're sitting there and you're dreaming, about when's my next fight, where am I gonna fight? You have so many things going on, and that's where I was able to like step away and be like, I am truly living my dreams by doing what I want to do, by fighting. I'm truly living my dreams. And it's awesome because being during this pandemic has really helped me because it made me realize a lot. Like anything that you have, you better make sure that you cherish it, because you never know when anything will be gone. So like you got to cherish your career, you got to cherish your family, you got to cherish your job, you got to make sure that all those things, you got to make sure that you cherish them, because you never know when they're going to be gone. And that's why I'm really glad that I'm able to fight, because I was able to make my dreams into reality. It's not no longer a dream. It's not like, I'm dreaming about, I'm going to fight. It's actually happening, and it's a really awesome feeling.
Yeah, and you mentioned just appreciating family in there, and just like great broader message of just appreciating what you have while it's around. But just in the context of when you were talking about family there, like it seems like they're very obviously ensconced in what you're doing with the combat efforts. Like you'd done some prior pad work with your dad there. Like your mom was your manager at one point. Like when we last spoke to one another, like they must think it's really cool too. Like it must be a commensurate thrill for them to see you doing what you're doing.
Yeah, my mom is my biggest role model for me. She always has taught me, like, no matter what, if I want something in life, I just got to go chase it and go get it. No matter, it could be anything in life, you just got to make sure that you go and chase it and get it. You can't just expect it to come to you. You got to make sure that you make it a reality and you go get it. And that's what ever since I've been 14, I told everybody I was going to be a pro fighter. And a lot of people doubted me. A lot of people didn't think I'd make it happen. But I just made sure that no matter what, I stayed consistent and made sure that I was going to make it happen. And that's what I'm doing now with this pro fight. Next Thursday, I'm doing everything in my ability to make sure that I finish this guy in the first round, whether it be by KO or submission. And I'll make it a reality next Thursday, and it's an awesome feeling because I had great parents growing up, especially a great mom growing up, helping me into the man that I am, and helped me mold me into the mature young man that I am. And they've helped me, they've believed in me, they've always given me all their support, and I can't thank them enough. And it's really awesome feeling to have your parents support you, especially your mom. I'm a mama's boy, so it's a great feeling to have my mom 100% support me in everything that I'm doing, and it's just a great feeling.
No, I feel that, man. I'm a mama's boy too, so I definitely resonate with that sentiment there. But you've been really great with your time, man, and I'm really happy I was able to get some time to talk to you before what looks to be a big high stakes bout for you here. But just in being mindful of your time and the rest of your schedule, is there anything you'd like to add as a parting thought as we're wrapping up here, man?
I always like to give a huge shout out to my sponsor, PDX Sliders. They've always sponsored me since the beginning. It's out here in Portland, Oregon. It's by far the best burger restaurant in the whole United States, I believe. And I also want to give a huge shout out to my gym, Equip Academy, all my coaches that have got me ready, George Gonzalez, Ishmael, all my training partners, Exy Benitez, Fabian Raymore, Casey McBride, Quinn Hansen, Paul O'Neill, Steven Medal, Joe Medal, all the people that have helped me get me ready. Thank you so much. I also want to give a huge shout out to Titan FC for having me fight on their promotion. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. And I just want to give all glory to God, because without him, I wouldn't be. Without him, none of us would be here. And I'm just truly so blessed and thankful for everything that he does for me. And I can't wait. Next Thursday, I just hope everybody tunes in live on UFC Fight Pass, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And I promise to put on a show and finish this guy.
It's a fight I'm really looking forward to. One of the more intriguing bouts on Titan FC 66 in the flyweight division there when Gustavo Villamil and Keaneo Moyer get at it. Thanks for all the time and insights, man. It was great getting to catch up with you a little bit. Best of luck with everything leading into traveling to the fight and things of that nature. And then also just you have a good rest of your day too, man.
Awesome. Thank you, Dylan. You too.